Finally, a jig for sharpening axes that fits all. Not just all edges, but all applications, areas of use, and individuals. A jig for those of you who also wants to sharpen convex edges. A jig for wood carvers and outdoor enthusiasts alike. In short, a jig for all kinds of axe heads.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Lindesberg and the Tormek Sharpening Studio here in Sweden. We are live today with a big news, a brand new product release that you saw in the intro here. So I have Sébastien with me to demonstrate this brand new AX40 Axe Jig, which is the new product we're releasing.
Here we have it.
Yes, behind the camera we have our excellent cameraman Victor, steady as always. Hi Victor.
Hello.
Cool. I think we should start by looking a bit at the Axe Jig, which is replacing the old Axe Jig.
Yes, so here we have the old ones. Before we go into the Axe Jig, it's live,
yes,
so don't forget to ask questions, and we will be answering them after the episode, right?
We will. We'll go through the demonstration first, and then we'll answer any questions. The SVA 170.
Yes, this is a good old friend that has been with us for many years, but now it will be replaced with the brand new AX40 Axe Jig, which is a huge improvement, I would say. The AX40 is in many ways built on the same principles as the knife jigs, the KJ40. So just like with the knife jigs, you have two different stops. This allows us to have different sizes of axe heads, so even very big axe heads makes it possible to sharpen on it. Also, the two different stops allows us to sharpen a convex bevel, which is often aftersought on axes. So this is another improvement. Also, you can have way bigger axes and more different axe shapes. So it has many positive sides compared to the old Axe Jig.
Right.
Also, for the attentive viewers and for the Tormek super users, that know that our go-to material is often zinc, but in this case there is almost no zinc at all. We have chosen composite this time, and the reason for that is that we needed a material that was both flexible but also stiff at the same time, so you were able to create tension to properly set the axe head and different axe heads, because they have very different shapes in the jig, and therefore composite was the perfect material choice in this case, and we are very satisfied with this patented result that our innovation team has done.
Yes, it's a beautiful, sleek looking jig, if you ask me. I love it.
Yes, and it has, just like with the knife jig as well, one screw and one knob, and you tighten it more or less in the same way, and then you have 6 rubber cushions here inside that makes the axe head very stable and secure in the jig. Right. I hope that was what I was supposed to say.
I think so. Yeah,
good.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Yes.
So in short, it's a jig that fits not only all kinds of axes, but all kinds of areas of use, all people. A jig for all axe heads.
Yeah, exactly. And here you can sharpen a traditional bevel, you can sharpen a convex bevel, and even a flat bevel. And we will go through all these 3 different possibilities.
Should we do that now, or I thought to start?
I would like to start by how to fix the axe in the jig.
That's a good start.
Yeah, I think so. It's step 1.
Yes.
And what you aim for then is to get all these 6 rubber cushions touching the axe head and make sure that it's properly fixed. And you will do that by, you open up the jig, so you have some air in between the rubber cushions and the axe head. And then I place it like this, and then my goal there then is to get all 6 rubber cushions to touch the axe head. And it depends. They can look very different axe heads. And sometimes you need to alter and loosen the screw and tighten the knob and back and forth.
Go back and forth a bit.
Exactly. It's the same principle as with the knife jig, once again, but knives are often way thinner and not as complex.
The tapering isn't as big.
No, exactly.
Right.
So it's a bit easier. But if you have the Tormek knife jig, you will recognize the method of use. And then what I do is I start by locking the screw, and then I have a look to see I'm satisfied, more or less, and then I lock the knob.
Where are you pointing the jig?
Where I'm pointing the jig.
I mean, in regards to the axe. I mean, what's the?
I want this part to be straight towards the longest flat part of the bevel.
Cool.
And now I'm holding like this because I was hoping to show the viewers that all 6 rubber cushions are touching the axe head, and it's properly fixed here.
Yep.
So then I'm quite satisfied. Once I have done that, you have the 2 stops here, and when I want to sharpen an axe just a regular way, you have a couple of different options, but I would be putting the universal support underneath this stop and sharpen like this.
If you take away your hand, I think Victor will be able to.
Underneath the stop. If you would have an even larger axe head, you also have the possibility to use this stop, so you can have an even longer axe head. So it depends on a bit of the size of the axe head. I know also some people like to sharpen with the stop underneath the universal support, because the stone will be pushing it against universal support, and that's fine as well. But the important thing is that you do the same way all the way when you measure the angle and when you sharpen, otherwise you will...
And when you flip it over to sharpen the other bevel.
Exactly. But I will do the traditional, like we have with the knife jig. I have this second stop leaning on the universal support. Then when it comes to the angle, I have 2 different options. Either I can measure the angle, or as we often recommend, you can use the marker method. I like the marker method in this case, as in many others, because it's the fastest way to sharpen. You will be repeating the same angle, which makes that you also remove a minimum of material, and it will make the axe last longer. And
you will have the same angle as was intended from the manufacturer.
Exactly.
Good. We trust axe manufacturers, being Swedes.
Yes, of course. We have many good axe manufacturers. So what I do is I color the bevel here. And then I rest it on the stop. And then when the machine is off, I just pull the stone. And look. I have a good day, so I'm perfectly on the bevel, which means I have the right height. Then I lock the universal support by pressing above the micro adjustment, and I lock that leg first, and then I lock the second leg. And I do that so to make sure that I'm completely parallel towards the stone. Then off we go sharpening. And here as well, it's a bit of what you are most comfortable with. I often recommend that you are close to the bevel with the fingers. I feel you have better control there, and also you can put some pressure if you want to make the sharpening a bit faster. Then I just place it down, and if I would have a line on the stone, I try to follow that line as well as possible.
Are you putting any pressure on there, or?
Not that much now. Often I think this steel is quite soft, so I don't need to put that much of a pressure on it. I can also, now I'm sharpening standing behind it, which is the main reason for that is to show you, the viewers, how I'm doing. You can also be standing here if you prefer, and sharpen on this side.
Put your...
yes, I could be putting this and sharpen.
Yeah, I know Pontus with us prefers standing that way.
Yeah.
So you can stand either way. You can sharpen with the universal support in the other vertical mounts.
Yes, exactly.
Edge trailing as well.
Yes.
It's the same, yeah. So it's a matter of taste, and we're not saying you should do the one thing or the other, but what fits you, right?
But you see here, I remove the marker more or less all the way. Perhaps one Small pass again. Sometimes you can also, it could be, now this is not the case in this case, but sometimes the honing wheel could be in the way for the axe shaft, but then you can just remove the honing wheel and get more space if you want.
Yep.
I'm satisfied, so I turn around, and here it's self-centering, just like the knife jig, so I don't have to measure anything.
If you know, I mean, you could always try and measure the first time if your axes are hand forged.
Yes, then
there might be some differences, right?
Of course, yeah. So if they're hand forged, they are not always straight axes, and there are some axes that also are not centered perfectly. Axes,
by use.
No, exactly, because they are made to not be centered.
Right.
So axes, you shouldn't generalize axes because there are so many different kind of axes, and I think in the commercial we saw in the beginning that. We said for all axe heads, and that is really a great thing with this jig. That it's very versatile, and it works for many different axe types.
Right. But you're finding reaching the apex, trying to raise a burr?
Yes, exactly. So thank you, Hugo, for helping me. You want to raise a burr all along the apex, just like you would do with a knife. And once you feel you have burr all along the bevel, then you know that you are done sharpening.
Great.
So here, I'm quite satisfied. I have a burr all the way. And then, when you have a burr all the way, as always, you want to hone it. We often recommend to keep the jig on when you hone, because if you haven't sharpened enough, you can just go back sharpening without having to reset everything, so it's more efficient. I don't know what Victor prefers. Do you want me to hone on this side, or do you want me to come around? So I turn around the machine, because as always, it's important to have the honing wheel turning away from you when you hone a tool. Otherwise, you will cut into the leather, and that will be expensive for you. It will create a new sale for us, but that's not the kind of sales we want. And then I just put it flat on. I do this free-handed, and then I pull it against me. And compared to the old axe jig, this is way more precise, and you get a much more repeatable result because you have the exact same angle. You can repeat the same angle every time, which is a huge advantage. I don't know if I forgot to prepare some paper. Could you to just dry it off?
Sure. I'll get you some.
Could my assistant Hugo help me?
Am I an assistant now?
Yes.
Okay.
I downgraded you.
I've been demoted.
I downgraded you live.
Yes. I think as the sharpening expert, you are allowed.
I'm a bit jealous of you being the presenter, so I'm trying to
yeah, this is your usual role.
I feel intimidated, so I have to attack you. And then, as always, you can feel with your nail if you feel any burr left, and I feel that that's quite good. And now, this is not the intent to cut paper with axes, but it becomes very sharp, and I could make it probably even sharper if I honed it a bit more.
Yeah, but that is plenty sharp.
But you see, you get a very symmetrical bevel on both sides, and it is super easy and super controlled.
Right.
Great. That was with
quite straightforward.
Yeah, that was with the marker method. If you want to use the angle master, the Wm200, then you take the Wm200, and first of all you need to set the diameter of the stone. On the T4 it's 200, on the T8 from the beginning, and 250 on the T8, and then the stone might shrink, but you have a scale here, so you see if the stone gets smaller. I would say that we're almost 250 here, perhaps 247.5, something like that. It's just more or less. And then say that we want 40 degrees. We pretend that we want 40 degrees on our axe, and I set it on 40 degrees. I put it on the stop that I intend to sharpen on. And then I want no light to shine through between the bevel. So I measure directly on the bevel and the axe. And you see here, I am quite perfect. And that is because I cheated. I knew it was 40. So it's 20 per side. So when you measure directly on the bevel, if you want 20 per side, you put it on 40.
Yes, it's a total
angle, exactly.
Right.
And here it's on knives. Sometimes people are used to measure on the back of the knife. This is not possible when it's so rounded and tapered, the axe, and also.
So to be able to use the Wm200 Angle Master, you have to be able to measure on the bevel.
Exactly. Cool. But that is also a possibility you have.
Sweet.
Great.
Are there any other possibilities with this new jig?
I'm glad you asked, Hugo.
This is a TV presenter.
Yeah, it's like we have trained this.
Yeah.
Yes, so if you want to sharpen a convex bevel, and a convex bevel can be good, for example, for splitting wood. A convex bevel also makes it stronger, they say. I don't necessarily do convex bevels on my axes. If I want to split wood, I just make a bigger angle, and that gives more or less the same. But that is a philosophical question. We don't need to dive into that way too deep. However, you can sharpen a convex angle.
Just maybe we should also mention that we are not handcrafters. So,
no.
I mean, if there are people, there probably are a lot of people who know a lot more about using axes than us. Yes. So.
Yeah, and I met very knowledgeable people, and some of the knowledgeable people that are amazing artists, they say that they prefer a concave bevel. Others say that that are as talented a convex bevel. So I think it's a bit, it differs.
It's a matter of taste.
Yes, exactly. And we are just satisfied that we can
provide something that fits all axe heads.
Exactly. Great. Thank you, Hugo. I couldn't have put it better myself. So same here. I want to fix it, and all 6 rubber cushions touching the axe head. And first the screw, and then the knob.
And this is not a straight edge you have here. So how do you want to point the jig now?
Then I put it towards the center, more or less. Where the bend is the biggest. Yes,
in the middle of the
radius. Middle of the radius.
Cool.
Exactly. Great. And then, where is my magic marker here? So I have the Tormek marker. I do the same here. I color the bevel up. It's a slightly bigger bevel this time. And then what I will be doing is that I will be first sharpening above the lower stop here, and then
have a close look so people understand what you're talking about.
And then I will sharpen the very edge of the bevel, so the apex.
So now you won't be able to push down. You have to hold it towards you, right?
Exactly, and the stone will help me pushing it up towards me as well.
Right.
And then I will set the first bevel there. That is step 1. But first I need them to find the right angle.
Okay. So that is to establish a new apex.
Yes, exactly. And then the magic will happen after the convex. So with the machine standing still, I pull and I'm here. So perhaps a bit down, but now I'm quite where I want to be.
So now you want to make sure you just remove the marker at
the very top, yes.
Very edge, right.
And what you can do as well, so when I see that I'm more or less at the very edge, so you see I'm at the edge, you can go down a bit more and see. Okay, so I'm quite satisfied. And then if Victor comes from the side, I was at the very bottom here. And then if I press it down all the way and pull there as well, you see I take way higher up. So now I will make a convex bevel from the very apex up till there. But first I will make the apex all the way. So I lock the universal support, I set the machine, and then I have it up against the universal support.
Right.
And the stone pushing it towards me, and I start sharpening. And it really helps with the machine or the stone pushing it, so it's very easy to use as well.
Yeah. And we are very, we want people to experiment with which direction they want to sharpen and which stops to use. For this purpose, you obviously need to use it like that to be able to create a convex edge.
And here you see I've set an apex on it all the way. And now the time has come to make the convexity, and then I will be pulling it back and forth between the two stops, and that will create the convexity.
So that is the same principle as the knife jig?
Yes, exactly.
Nice and controlled.
Yes, exactly. And you can do it faster if you want. You can do it slow. I don't have an absolute speed, but try your way.
This is also a way to where you find what suits you, right?
Yes, exactly. And for example, our beloved sharpening doctor Wolfgang, he likes to do it edge
trailing.
Yes, because he feels that it's haptically a better. It feels better.
Yeah, because then it pulls away, so he just pulls it towards himself.
Exactly.
Now you're pushing down.
Yes, and then the stone is pushing it back up.
So it's a matter of taste there as well.
Yes, it is.
Oh, we got a hello from Pat Lap, our friend in Canada. Says, hi,
hello,
friend.
Hi, Pat Lap, our friend.
Sorry to interrupt your sharpening.
Does he have the axe jig? No?
I don't know. Do you have the axe jig, Pat Lap?
Otherwise, we will help him.
He does.
He does. Okay, great. So here you see I'm not perfectly done, but you see here I have created then a convex bevel all the way from the apex up to here.
Right.
And if I would just keep going, I would make it even more convex. And then when you're done with one side, you just repeat the procedure on the other side, and then you go home the axe.
But what if I wanted to have if you look at the bevel now, if I wanted to have it more like convexed even further up the blade?
Yeah, that would be difficult because the stop is...
But couldn't I just remark and lower the support and do it all?
Yes, but then you would alter the angle a bit.
Oh, okay, up towards there. Right.
But this is...
So if I have a longer bevel than the stops would allow, it's also possible by adjusting the universal support after.
Yes, it is. What you can do also is, if I would keep sharpening here, it will become just one. The bevel will adapt after that width. So you will have an entire bevel that is convex.
Sweet.
So it's not more difficult than that, and this is a brand new axis, so we haven't used it that much, and just the first time I ever made a convex bevel on an axe, it was super easy.
Yeah.
So it's...
Yeah, you have sharpened way more axes and everything than me, and also me trying it the first time, no problem at all.
No, it is really super
really
easy.
Straightforward. It feels a bit funny the first time before you get a hang of it, but after you get a hang of it, sharpening one or two axes,
it feels like, am I doing this right?
Yeah, but then when you use the marker method, you see the result.
Yeah.
And I've done it with the Japanese waterstone as well, just to get that super finish on the convex bevel. Quite satisfying, to be honest.
And it's quite bulletproof.
Yeah.
Yes, we sometimes have, just could mention that quickly, sometimes we have just perfectly straight axes.
Flat bevels.
Flat bevels, and that is even easier. You just set it up in the same way, and then you just pull it back and forth. Okay, it's just like a perfectly straight knife.
Right.
The straighter it is, the easier it is. So there is no difference at all.
Cool.
We can also sharpen a completely flat bevel, which some users want, but then we have to go on the outside of the wheel. And to do that, we will be using the MB102.
Multi-base?
Yeah, multi-base, thank you. Naming conventions, I'm bad at that. But I have you, Hugo.
Yes, word police.
You go back from assistant to presenter just by helping me in that good way. So I set the MB102 multi-base in place. Also, which is important to say, this is an original stone. We recommend when you sharpen on the outside that you use a diamond wheel, such as the DF250, for example. But I'm just going to show how you sharpen a flat.
I'm not going to really...
No, I'm not going to actually sharpen. I will let that to you viewers try at home. I'm not that well why you would like a perfectly flat bevel, but there are some applications in axes.
And you have carving axes. There's a quite popular thing to have a flat over hollow. So you do a hollow first, and then you do a flat. Might be a bit aggressive, but if you have the extra fine diamond grinding wheel, you can do a flat on the outside. Just
like you do with a flat over hollow on a carving knife. I can use this one. So when you sharpen on the side, this is also, it's super easy, but you want to find the right height and then how far out the universal support is, so you find the right angle. So I would perhaps go a bit higher here. So I'm perfectly all over the surface. Here I'm quite happy. And then I would have to move it in. But here I would use the color method, the marker method, to find the right angle. And then you just pull the axe back and forth here, and then you will get a perfectly flat bevel. So it's super easy. One thing you could think about is if you have a convex bevel from the beginning like this, and you do it flat, what you want to do is to aim to remove the marker in the middle of the bevel, because if it's convex and you do it on a flat side, it won't be taken evenly all over the place. And then you aim for the highest point and you start sharpening there, and that way you make it perfectly flat. So I think that's about it with the axe jig, and we have a lot of, we made a mess here, a lot of different beautiful axes here, and there are many more. When the innovation team tested the axe jig, they asked all employees to get the weirdest axe they had and bring them in to try them on. And of course, there are certain limitations, but I would say that most of...
I have a cheat sheet with the limitations here. So we actually got a question about the limitations of width, which we can jump into right away. But there are really no limitations of width with the jig, but that would be rather your universal support. So if your universal support is too short, you have the US 430 universal support, extended universal support, which allows you to...
it has longer legs.
Wider. And
wider as well, yes.
But we have the limitations in the length of axes you can sharpen, which would be...
so from this point out to...
110 to 220 millimeters, or 4 3/8 to 5 5/8 inch.
It's complicated, the inches.
And regarding thickness, it's 10 to 40 millimeters.
This would be the thickness, like this, right?
Yeah, and 3/8 of an inch to 1 and 5/8 of an inch thickness. So that's the smallest to biggest. And width, no real limitations except for your universal support length, that would be. We got someone asking, may I ask a question? Please go ahead, ask all of your questions now. We will go through, I don't know how much we have left, not too much. We'll go through just a little bit more about the jig before we start going into your questions. So go ahead and ask all of them, and we'll take as many as we have time with. Sweet.
I have one last thing I want.
Before that, sure.
Yeah. Also, so the AX40 is a new product. The SVA 170 will be discontinued.
Yes.
But the Axe Jig also touches the product, the hand toolkits, the HTK 806.
Right.
And that will also become a new product. It will be called the HTK 906 instead.
Correct.
And will be including the Axe Jig. So if you want to buy a new hand tool kit and you want the new Axe Jig, look for HTK 906.
Yes, it's on our website.
Yes.
New product page.
And also it comes for the bushcraft. So the bushcraft
Tormek
in the
T4
future,
bushcraft.
Tormek T4 bushcraft in the future will also be including the new AX40 Axe Jig.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, we got a question about that as well. So.
Okay, good.
And I haven't mentioned actually, the product is live on our website, tormek.com, and we put a link to the product page in the description. So please head down there and you'll have all the information you might need about it.
Yeah.
Great. We have been through most of the stuff on my cheat sheet. I have a question that I think many people are wondering about, and that is when it will be available in stores.
It is. It was already available this morning, which wasn't our purpose, but it's supposed to be available in stores from now. It might depend on market to market, but on most markets, I'm sure you can go in directly.
Do we know if we have shipped over the Atlantic already?
Yes, it should be shipped and it should be in place. So I think you can place an order already in the US
Cool.
if they have woken up.
They have. I have seen one of our retailers in the comments here flirting with Patlap. So.
Okay, good morning.
Yeah.
Pricing is also something that people often ask.
Yes.
So our recommended retail price is in euros, 35 euros out without tax. That's approximately 42 euros, depending on the tax rate. It's around 20 in the most European countries. Some have 19, some have 21, 20, something like that.
Yep.
In the US dollar, the map pricing is $50 US, and in Sweden, the recommended retail price, including tax, is 440 Swedish kronor.
Cool. That was a bunch of good information. I'm just looking through all your comments here now to see we got a lot of hellos and where you guys are from. We had people from Sweden, US, South Africa, Canada, North Carolina. We got Ken S, also from Ohio, USA. We know, Ken, that you asked the question before this, so maybe we can start with Ken's question, and which was about the history a bit of the SVA 170 Axe Jig. So if you could
yes, I could try to guide you through. So this is a really oldie but goodie. It will turn 40 years next year. So in 1984 was the first time Tormek produced the universal support, so this part. And then in 1985 we launched 3 different jigs, our 3 first jigs, which was called the SH60. So it's a predecessor to the square edge jig, which is nowadays called the SE77. We also launched the SVS 30, which is the predecessor to SVS 38, which is a gouge jig, and we launched the Axe Jig. So it actually came before the knife jig even, and the knife jig we have had, 3 or 4
versions.
But this has been with us all the way, and therefore we thought that it was really time to make a new...
And frankly, also because it hasn't been able to perform at the level that the Tormek product should nowadays.
Yeah, no, and it says a little that we have had, 3 different square edge jigs since we have had the what we call nowadays TT50 came at the same time, and we have also had 3 versions of that. We have had 3 or 4 versions of the knife jig, but this has been with us for a very long time. And
so it's a big product release for us, and we're very happy to actually have an update to this.
Yeah, and we feel like we really found a new solution that gives us so much more precision, possibility to repeat, also a bigger variety of different axes and accents you can sharpen, and also that you now can sharpen convex edges, which is the convex thing is also most after sought within axes, I would say. So that is also a huge leap for axes.
Yes.
Hope that was an answer to your question, Ken.
Great. We have a little bit of both questions and comments, so I'll just jump into it. Kul Claes said that he had the old the SVA 170 Axe Jig and mentioned when you have a very small axe, it will touch the grinding wheel with a jig.
Yes. That is
I have also experienced that, so that's a problem you won't be having.
No.
Good evening, Finland. Jarno Jussila, good evening. Patriot Edge says, I'm so glad I wasted money buying the old Axe Jig. We will not stop innovating, so you might be unlucky sometimes and buy a new product just before a release.
Yes, but it works well. Yeah. It's way cheaper than the new Axe Jig, so you can see it as you dismissed, or that you made a bargain with a fine product.
Yeah, it is still good. We have Ivan Uriegas who says quite nicely that we are from different parts of the world, but the love of sharpening unites us, and that is
that is
very nice. Yes, because we want to sharpen the world.
Yes.
So it's a very nice comment.
And that is one part I love of my job. I get to meet people from all different cultures, all around the world with a common interest, and also talented artists.
It's a really nice community
from all over the world.
Rich Colvin comments that I love that you're using the SG grindstone. It's my favorite. Happens to be my personal favorite as well.
Yes, it's very versatile.
Yes.
And I'm a bit old school as well and like it.
And he also wonders where to get the sporty polo style shirt Sebastian is wearing. He wants to be you. I don't know if it's possible to purchase it.
No, I don't know either, really.
I think so, actually.
No, it's not supposed to be.
Yeah. So let us know if you find it somewhere. We'll go after it.
And we have a link to sell it.
Right. Here was a question I mentioned before. Will this jig work for a Viking hewing axe with a 375mm curved edge? I made 3 copies of the Bio Tapestry Axe. Gränsfors Bruk also made their own version. And the answer is yes. I don't have the exact number of width for where you would need extended universal support, the US 430. But it will work with the jig. Then it's a question of the universal support. And Jarno asked, what about convex blade? We have already answered this.
Yes. Also, that could be if you have like a very specific axe, you want to know if it's possible or not. My recommendation is to send a picture to support@tormek.se.
Yeah, before you if this is your
because if we can see the axe, it's easier to answer
with measurements. And
yes,
so on,
exactly.
Is there a preference for using the leather honing wheel instead of the composite honing wheel? Rich Colvin asks.
It depends a bit. It's also a question of taste and personal. But the composite honing wheel is a bit more aggressive, I would say.
Right.
We often talk about that the burr becomes a bit more rough when you sharpen on diamond wheels, and then the composite honing wheel can be good
pairing,
to remove it more efficiently. The leather honing wheel, which is my personal favorite, still makes it even perhaps more shiny.
You have a higher polish.
Yes, you have a higher polish. You have the advantage with the composite honing wheel that you don't need the polishing paste, which can be messy sometimes. So there are pros and cons, but in general, the composite honing wheel is a bit more stiff, a bit more aggressive than the leather honing wheel.
I'm just speculating, since we are talking about axes, which might be a bit softer in the steel sometimes, that it might get a bit of a tough burr to deburr. Yeah. So I'm thinking might be easier to deburr axes, and also having quite steep angle a lot of times. The burr can be quite aggressive. I'm just speculating and imagining.
I like your speculation. I haven't tried it enough to answer it in a proper manner.
So speculating, try it out and comment how you did.
And that is also great with our community. They learn us.
Yeah, we learn
plenty from them
back and
all
forth.
the time. Yes.
Cool. Hello from Slovakia. just drive the blade on fine sandpaper. Oh, they're asking about clipper blades. So we'll save that question. You can ask any other questions that are not related to the Axe Jig. I will not answer here. Write them in the comments below or send an email to support@tormek.com with any other questions you might have.
Yes.
Just to keep this on the subject. Hope you understand.
And also, if you are looking at this afterwards, please ask the questions in the comments and we will answer them in writing.
Yeah.
Right. And the same goes if I can't answer a question here.
We got Patla coming in saying hello. Ceramic blade sharper. Shahmad Hussain says we can just mention that you can sharpen ceramic blades with a diamond grinding wheel.
Yes, that works perfectly fine. And sometimes even with the Blackstone SP250.
Yeah. Ken comments, clever how the convexing builds on the innovation of the KJ45 knife jig.
Yes, they are sharp, our innovation team. We shouldn't take credit to you, but they are doing a great job. And
Rich Colvin also says that it seems like this jig could also be used on large, heavy knives, e.g. cleavers or machetes.
Yeah.
We have, this is the narrowest axe we tried it with. So, if you clamp it down to its, do you have it there? A loose jig. You can clamp it down to like it's the smallest position it can be in. I don't think it is. I think it would be preferable to do it with the knife jig.
But it could probably, but it needs to be quite
thick
machete or knife. But of course, there are some tools out there that are something in between. So I think this, and it's a brand new jig, but I'm sure we will find a lot of different uses on different tools that are not axes as well, like we do with all our jigs. Like the knife jig is often used for, I don't know, pruners and other stuff. So we will find out.
Please. So sharpening innovation.
Please let us know, Rich, if the machete became good.
And we mentioned, we got a comment from Magnus Lindvall, our friend here in Sweden, in Eskilstuna, mentioned how to fit in the HTK 806. It won't. It will fit in the HTK 906. Yes. But the insert...
Yes, it doesn't fit perfectly yet, but we have already... I think cheated, so the HTK last half year has been fitting both of them.
No one has noticed.
No,
yet.
Exactly.
It's an Easter egg.
But you can buy just the insert as well, so you don't need to buy the whole case. The insert separately is sold as a product.
I don't know, is it possible to alter the insert yourself to fit it? Or is that something we shouldn't mention in a live session?
I have no idea. I've never
we can't
tried.
Recommend that, but we can look into if that's.
But otherwise, it's not very expensive. You can buy just the insert, and that fits in the same Tormek case. So you can just.
Yes. What precipitated development of this new axe jig? Adam Smith asks. We have touched on that, so I don't think we have to go more into depth with that. But he also asks, how long was the axe jig in development? Do we have an answer there? It was quite some time, actually.
Yes, like all our products are often, they're quite long lead time. Often we have an idea and then we start working with it. And then we patent it quite early. And then there is
adjusting
fine-tuning, adjusting, testing different axe sizes. We also send them out to ambassadors and other super users to test them out to see if there are any.
We had some sharp eyes which noticed a certain axe maker, Julia Kaltoff, which was model axe in the 3D video in the beginning of this.
She was part of the process. She was there about a year ago with her sharpening guys and herself. So it's quite a long process. I would say, I don't know when they got the idea from the beginning, but 2 to 3 years at least, I would say. Something like that.
Yeah. And it can seem like a lot, but I know that we have added This is a part of that we see a bit of an arch here. This is an added feature during the development to make it not slide off. So there's very small adjustments, a flatter part here.
Yeah, there's small details.
These are all small adjustments that takes time to really test out. So for being based on the KG jigs, I understand it can seem like a long time, but things have been going on during all these
yes, and also
well.
what you have to think about is like when we do a new axe jig, it also touches other product, as we talked about the insert of the HTK 806, it touches the bushcraft.
Yeah.
So there are many things to have in consideration, and when the timing is right and so on. So it's I often feel like how difficult it can be to launch a new product, and then when you go into detail, you realize many aspects to take into consideration.
Yeah. Wooden Boy asks, hi, I'm using the Tormek T8 Black. I have many of your different attachments, which I review on YouTube. I have the following concern. There is a wobble in the shaft from the first day of using on the machine, I assume.
Yes.
Do you know, there are some things that it might be straight off the bat?
Yeah, it can be the washer, the spring washer that is not perfect tighten. But my best recommendation is, as always, yes, send a video with sound on the machine running to support at tormek.se, and then someone will look at it and give you a perfect answer. And then some wobble doesn't affect the sharpening, and there are some tolerances, but what wobble is varies a lot what people mean with wobble. So send a video and we can do a correct judgment of it.
Yeah. Cool. He also, no, this is still on the same problem. Support is correct. Will Axe Jig come in a storage case? The answer there is no. It won't have its own storage case, but it will be included in the HTK 906 hand tool kit, which is also an updated product. Greetings from New Hampshire, USA. Let's see. I love how you guys never stop improving. Thank you. Sharpening supplies are awake, they say. Touching
good.
Yeah. Saludos desde España. Saludos.
You're strong in Spanish as well, I hear.
Yes, El Cubil de la Herramienta. That's a friend of ours.
Yes.
Okay, here we have another one. Yeah, Danish broad axe, 375 millimeters curved edge, the same before. So yes, it will work, but depends on how long of a universal support you have. Well done program from Ken. Thank you, Ken. You can feel that it's coming to an end. Nice innovation. Do you have an official dealer in Thailand? We don't, do we?
No, I don't think we have an official dealer in Thailand, but there you can send an email to info@tormek.se and we can redirect you to someone that I'm sure can...
Yeah, we have some dealers that ship worldwide.
Yeah, exactly. So no matter where you're in the world, we have dealers that where we don't have coverage, they can ship to often.
Yes. George Katsigiannis, I'm sorry if I am mispronouncing your name. Hello to you in Greece. That's all our questions that we had. Yes. Pretty straightforward. I think people followed. Let's hope you followed with all the information and the demo that you gave quite professionally.
Yes, hopefully.
Sébastien.
Thank you. You did a professional presentation. No, thank you very much, everyone. It is really a great product. I hope and it's a giant leap forward, I would say, for all axe lovers out there.
All axe heads, as I like to call them.
Yes. It was your idea, perhaps, the commercial. But as I said before, if you see this after, when we're not live anymore, please ask your questions in the commentary below and we will answer them as best as possible. And please let us know also what you think about the new axe jig as soon as you got one.
I mean, we're on social media. A lot of you guys are too. Tag us and let us know what you think. It will be fun to see your reactions and see your smooth beveled edges.
Yes.
Cool. I think that's that, and we'll say thank you for watching. Comment below, like, subscribe, all that. You know what to do. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Finally, a jig for sharpening axes that fits all. Not just all edges, but all applications, areas of use, and individuals. A jig for those of you who also wants to sharpen convex edges. A jig for wood carvers and outdoor enthusiasts alike. In short, a jig for all kinds of axe heads.